Welcome back, Shred Gang. Great that you're tuning in today. I have a special guest today. Nata is joining us.
Hi guys.
And the reason for that is that I've been neglecting beginner players with the content on the channel lately. And since a lot of our members on Patreon actually requested a beginner shred guitar lesson, I thought this is the perfect opportunity to actually bring a beginner on the channel to go through some really helpful licks and exercises. And the coolest thing about this is that I can hopefully analyze the technique a little bit to give some constructive input and feedback. And that will hopefully help you out on your journey as well. So first of all, how long have you been playing guitar?
I don't play guitar at all.
Okay. That shouldn't be a surprise to me since you're my girlfriend.
I probably know around 3 to 4 campfire chords.
Okay, so you just know a couple of chords, a couple of basics. And normally it takes a while until you get into the shredding and all of that exciting stuff. You should learn your chords first and some power chords and maybe the pentatonic scale and all that. But we will make an exception and focus on the fun stuff right away. I even dialed in a distorted guitar tone for you. That's fun, right? So I think the best point to start with all of this is actually getting into alternate picking. Are you familiar with the term alternate picking?
From your videos, yeah.
From my videos?
Yeah.
Are you subscribed to the channel?
Yes, of course.
Be like Nata, also subscribe to the channel right now. Okay, so if you've been watching the videos, show me some alternate picking.
I guess it will be like when you play like this. Oh my god.
That was a really cool chord right away. I love that one.
You have to play each individual string like this.
Nope. But it's no problem at all. So it's a picking technique, and since it's called alternate picking, you can memorize it easily when you're playing downstrokes or when you're down picking. You're actually just picking in one direction, like the name downstroke suggests. Yes! Those are some really good downstrokes. So downstroke, you're playing down. Guess what upstroke means?
So alternate picking will be down, up. Oh.
And she figured it out already.
Alright.
So the first really simple but incredibly helpful exercise is just working on that alternate picking motion and not really paying that much attention to the fretting hand. We're just gonna pick one note on the neck, and I'm picking C on the 5th fret on the G string, and we're gonna attempt to play 16th notes right away, and this is how this really simple exercise looks like. As always, you can download the video play-along exercises, the tabs, guitar profiles, and all of today's practice files on patreon.com/Bernd. I especially set up this community on Patreon to provide you with all the extra files that you need for these videos. So let's just attempt this first basic exercise together. You're playing C on the 5th fret on the G string. That's this note. Perfect! That's the one. And before we even get a metronome or before you play to practice play-alongs or jam tracks, I really just want you to focus on getting a steady down and upstroke movement going. So you're just playing C, and you don't really have to think a lot about your fretting hand. I just want you to focus fully on the picking hand. You're just playing downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke, and so on. I think you're too good for this lesson. This already sounds great. So I think you've been watching a couple of my videos, as you said, because what I see right here is that you're playing with a closed hand, which is very interesting.
I learned this from you. So first just start out with a hand like this.
Okay, I got that part.
Then you put the pick on your index finger.
Yes.
And then you just close your hand with your thumb. And the pick is sticking out just a little bit.
So yeah, that's my personal preferred pick grip. This is not the only pick grip out there, and in fact I started out with an open hand and with a pretty crazy technique with a reverse angle, something like that. And as most of you know, I changed it to the closed hand because I was just touching the strings when I was playing fast, or even touching the knobs or the switch. So when it comes to shredding, I just got much better results with that closed hand approach that you just demonstrated. That's gonna be the next exercise, by the way.
Okay, right.
And another very important observation, I'm not sure if I saw it correctly. Can you please play again? Okay, so you're also placing your wrist on the bridge. So you're not playing like this. You're placing your wrist right here. Is that also something you've seen in my videos?
Yes.
Okay. Try alternate picking right now with that floating hand, like you would play when you play your campfire chords. You see, it's a bit difficult to get control of the motion. You're touching the other strings right now, and you don't feel in control that much.
It's true, yeah.
Okay.
It's correct.
Okay, so the next exercise is actually a really cool concept for beginner shredders. This is something I talked about a bit in the most recent hand synchronization online course on Patreon. And this will quickly teach you the basics of hand synchronization. Now, what does hand synchronization actually mean?
It's when your right hand and your left hand are synchronized.
It's when your right hand and your left hand are synchronized. So I think the easiest definition of that is that you want every single picking stroke to exactly line up with the notes that the fretting hand is playing. It sounds kind of obvious, right? But it's actually not, because there are a lot of players out there who are playing like this. Did it sound like I'm usually playing?
No.
Okay, that's a good thing.
It didn't sound so clean. You couldn't hear all the individual notes.
Yes, so I wasn't thinking of each note, I was just doing something like this, and it might fool inexperienced players, and it's a lot of fun to do that at the beginning. Give it a try. Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing, and it's fun, right? But it's not very musical. So the next thing we're gonna do, we just need 3 notes. Let's keep C in there, since we already played C right here on the 5th fret on the G string. And we will also play A on the 2nd fret with your index finger. Yes. And B on the 4th fret with your ring finger, and C with the pinky. Yes. Okay, now I think we have to get a little bit into fretting hand technique. One thing that I can see is that you were playing the notes individually. So you were playing A, then B, then C, like this, right? What we're trying to do right here is okay. That was better already, because you did something right now that took me quite some years to realize. I think you're very, very smart when it comes to all of this, or maybe you're just listening at my door every day as I'm recording videos. What happened to your thumb right now in comparison to the first take that you played?
I placed it way
lower,
so it allowed me to stretch.
Wow, those are some good stretches. Yes. And that's exactly the #1 fretting hand technique topic that I can't shut up about, because it took me so many years to realize that. When I started playing, I was playing like this, so rather extreme fretting hand angles, and I always wondered why I can't stretch farther than that. And as soon as I did what you just did, when I moved my thumb to support my other fingers, it got much easier to stretch. So in this section of the fretboard, it's very helpful to have your thumb behind your middle finger. The system that I can really recommend at the beginning is just adding more strokes to each note. So first you start out with 4 strokes for every note, then you reduce it to 2 strokes for every note, and then you...
1. You...
We almost got it. And then you just play 1 note for every picking stroke. So here's the next beginner exercise, just playing 4 picking strokes, downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke for every single note before you move to the next note. That wasn't that bad at all. One thing that you can hear that is quite tricky when you're playing with distortion is that you sometimes have those overlapping notes, or you feel like it doesn't sound clean, as you mentioned it before that. From what I've observed right now, it's actually not the fretting hand.
Okay.
That's a problem with that. I think that you're actually, just like me, when I started out, that you're touching the strings with your knuckles or with this part of your fingers. So maybe just try to angle your picking motion a little bit, so that you're not touching the strings with your picking hand.
Like this?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be an extreme angle like that, but just lifting them a little bit so you will be able to feel it as soon as you don't touch the strings anymore. It actually feels better too. I think that's already a bit better. Of course, it really takes time. It's not something that you correct once and then you're perfect forever. But I think it's much better, and it's something that you should really keep in mind whenever you hear that noise and you're not really sure where it's coming from. It's not always the fretting hand. It was my assumption for a very long time. Sometimes it's really the picking hand rubbing against the strings. Let's play it together. I will play one round of the exercise for you, and then you can join in. Downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke. This is something that my old guitar teacher always used to do. He was confusing me with all sorts of intervals, but it almost sounded like we're making music, right? For a second. It was pretty cool. What's the next challenge? We're reducing those 4 notes to
2 notes.
Exactly. So here's the next beginner exercise for you, just playing downstroke, upstroke, and then you already switch to the next note. So you're playing downstroke, upstroke, and then you already switch to the next note. Yeah, that's actually not that bad. One thing that's a bit dangerous, if you will, I don't want you to press down with your index finger for the entire duration, like really pressing down. It should remain very close to the fretboard because it's not good if you move it away and then you have to move it back here. But you don't have to press down. That's actually a bad technique habit that I developed when it comes to legato or also to certain arpeggio shapes. And as soon as you don't always really press down with your index finger, you will develop better finger independence, since it will feel like you're really using every single finger and you're not just always pressing down right here while you're playing with the other fingers.
Also, it hurts after a while.
It hurts after a while, right? That's what I forgot. When you start out with all of this, your fingers hurt, so I'm sorry. I hope you can...
No, it's fine. But only this one, because I was pressing too hard.
Only the index finger, okay. Wow. I think that's really good. The one thing you can hear is that there's still a little bit of fret noise coming from the guitar, but that's perfectly normal. Usually you also start with a clean sound when you do all those technique workouts and all of that, but this video is all about shredding and about having fun a bit with all of that stuff. So to keep moving, the next obvious step is actually the hardest one, synchronizing every single picking stroke with a different note that you're playing. Okay, so let's give this one a try. I think this is a bit of a mind warp at the beginning, because with the first examples you were always playing a downstroke as soon as you were playing a different note. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 1, 2. And now you're also playing a different note with the upstroke, and that's often rhythmically challenging, especially for beginner players. Let's see how you handle this challenge. Let's turn the guitar on first.
Fail.
No, that's not a fail. It's a cute fail. Nice! Really good actually. So I could hear every single note that you were playing, which is important. If I watched you close enough, you didn't lose that picking pattern, so you were always playing down, up, down, up. So you pretty much did everything correctly. One thing that you could see is that you still had some extra movements with your fretting hand fingers. They really don't have to move that much, but it really takes a while. You can try once again, but economy of motion and all of that is actually quite an advanced topic and not something for the first guitar lesson. So I don't want this to be a complete overload right now. That actually looks really good. When I started out, I think it looked like something like that. So let's try this one together again. I'm starting and you can join me. Okay, so and the last beginner shred exercise that I would like to show you is just simply moving this pattern that we learned through a scale. Because right now we were just playing in this one position and that does get a bit boring. So I want to move this pattern of just playing 3 notes through a short section of the A minor scale. And the next challenge that awaits you with this one is that you have to switch between different positions as you're playing. So you're not just playing right here all the time and your thumb is perfectly placed. You have to move your fretting hand up. If this one is a bit too tricky for you right now, you can apply the same principle I showed you earlier, just playing 4 picking strokes for every single note at the beginning, then reducing it to 2 picking strokes and then just playing 1 picking stroke. So for this exercise you're playing A, B, C, A, B, C, A. So up next you're playing 2 notes that you're familiar with already, but with different fingers. You're playing B, C, and then D with your pinky finger. So B on the 4th fret, on the G string, C on the 5th fret, and D on the 7th fret. Yeah, that's not bad at all. So this is the next fingering, and I like to play it with my index, middle and pinky finger when I'm playing C on the 5th fret, D on the 7th fret. You already played those 2 notes, but now we're also adding E on the 9th fret. So very good. So now we got the individual patterns down and we looked at it, and the most difficult thing is actually switching between those patterns.
Wow.
You can do that as well. And the perfect way to get started for this is downloading all your practice files for today's video. The exercise video play alongs, tabs, guitar profiles, all of that good stuff on patreon.com/Bernd. That is also where you can get access to my 7 most recent online guitar courses. And you can obviously also get feedback from me in our VIP Facebook group in case you need some input on your guitar technique or theory skills. So in the end, what should our viewers do right now in your opinion?
Subscribe to the channel.
Yes.
And make lots of progress on their guitar skills. Blah, blah, blah.
That was very convincing. So make sure to subscribe right now so that you don't miss the next video. Leave a like in case you enjoyed this one. Thanks so much, Nathan, for taking the time to do this. See you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Bye bye.